Ali against Carl Akelu. Muttalib, a multiple title winner. Throughout his life, he's been playing snooker for 27 years, and if I'm not mistaken, he's secured a total of 19 titles, amongst them the SA national title, as well as doubles titles, 6 reds, classic titles, and he's up against the current star in the media at the moment, Mr. Carl Akelu, who we saw playing at the World Games. You can see there as the match is about to get underway. Charles Young to break off. Shake of the hand by the player, something always associated with snookership. So Charles gets us underway. That cue ball back into bulk, stock standard. Charles has played that shot many a times, as you can see there. Good shot because by the looks of things, he might be able to squeeze through between the brown and the blue to get to the red that's just to the left of the pyramid, the cluster of reds, but then he's also isolated the red that's furthest to the right, which is ideal because now he's caused a bit of congestion for Brandon to get the cue ball back into box. So let's see how he goes about doing that. Should play the red to the right of them, closest to the cluster. Does very well. That looks a bit hard. No, actually perfect. Oh, just a little bit too hard. Could have gotten up right behind that brown, which would have been a great shot. Brandon would need to get used to the pace of this table. Charles, a lot of experience on this table. You can see there, My Day Brands, the official refreshment sponsor of the Advice Cube Grand Prix for 2022. Mr. Diamudley and team doing their best to keep the players nice and fresh and playing at their best. Attempted pot by Charles to the bottom left. Rattled and came back out. Doesn't look like he's left much. Might have an opportunity to go for the middle pocket, or if he can see the red that's to the left of the black. Doesn't seem to be looking at it at all. Brandon just studying the table, looking at what his options are. If he does play for this, he wants to keep the cue ball at the bottom of the table. So he can play for the black. Close. But what he's done there really well, almost fluking that red, but staying up. But what he did well is he brought that cue ball back to the bottom rail. Again, hasn't left Charles with much. Can't see the red that is close to the pocket. Don't think he can. Don't think he'll take a gamble of trying to swerve through that gap. So worked out quite well by keeping that cue ball down low. Also see a slight tap of the table by Charles because, again, Charles can't now play the obvious safety by keeping the cue ball and bulk. But can he use the red? He has. Clever play by Charles. Used the red hanging over the pocket. Made the pot. And in the points. So Charles currently on 8. Just quickly for anyone that doesn't exactly understand how the scoring system works. Oh no, looks like the cue ball went down. Got distracted there for a brief moment. That is a foul 7 for Brandon, so he's in the lead. Must have then played the black and scratched the cue ball as I looked away for a minute. Apologies for that. But 1 frame or 1 point to Charles. Brandon on 7 at the moment. Gets ball in hand. Needs to go in the D symbol on that bulk end. Shot to the middle. Nicely played. Had a chat with Brandon leading up to the start of the match this morning. He's only been playing snooker for a year and a half, and he hasn't been playing Q Sports for around about 9 years. He had a gap. He's a well-known player on the 7-foot table, but fell in love with the game on the 12-foot table snooker, and he's now interested in committing. He said that he gave himself about 5 years to make it into a big event. So the Grand Prix. So he'll be very happy with the start that he's able to put up. Again, it's just now all about keeping control and learning to play on this table. Doesn't have a lot of experience on it. And this is also a rocker table. It's a steel block table, so a little bit tighter than most of the tables available in South Africa. This is tournament standard, world standard table. So he's off to a good start. He's on 14 at the moment. His break is on 7. So just to touch base again with exactly how the scoring starts with a unfortunate miss to the middle. At a nice pace. Gave every chance it had, but it never came out. So just in essence how the scoring works is when you break off, the first attempt that you can make at a shot has to be a red, which then gives you 1 point. That is why Charles is on 1. He played that clever little shot using the red hanging over the pocket. Made that. And after you've made a red, you then have to play a ball that is in essence not a red. So as you can see, there's a yellow, a brown and a green, the blue that's off to the red, or to the right, and then there's a pink right at the top of the cluster of reds. There's a pink ball peeking its head out there. And then there is a black at the bottom of that cluster of reds. So the order in which the points are allocated is the red, as I said, 1 point. Then the yellow is 2 points, the green is 3, brown is 4, blue is 5, pink is 6, and the black is 7. See Brandon back at the table. Don't think he'll go for the shot. He'll probably try and leave it safe. So if he goes for the red that's to the left of the cluster, he'll run into the cluster of reds and not necessarily leave himself on a shot for the black, for example. So that makes it quite tricky. You see he played. Don't think the double or the double sorry, the double kiss was intentional, but don't think he's also left Charles with anything, unless that cue ball does go past the black enough to play onto the red to the bottom left, but I doubt it. No, he does look like he's going down on that shot. The camera angle on the TV can be quite deceiving. No, perfectly clear on that shot. Just asking the match official, Stefan Steenekamp, just to clean the cue ball. You can see Stefan does have gloves on. Very professional setup here at AdviceCube. Very similar to our main sponsor, actually. The whole group is full of professionals, obviously understand their industry. They are in long-term and short-term insurance. They also provide fiduciary service and administrative services. AdviceCube Insuring Assets, the main sponsor for the AdviceCube Grand Prix 2022. It's the second time that they have sponsored this event. So a big thank you to them, Mr. Vimal Singh and team, assisting us to grow Q Sport as Charles going for this black. Black been made. So break on 8, total points on 9 for Charles. So trying to build some momentum. Company that already has that momentum is, as I said, AdviceCube. Please do get in touch. It is advicecube.co.za. Go to their webpage and you'll see all of the services that they offer. They are a fully licensed financial service provider, and if you have any concerns of what's in store for tomorrow, please do contact AdviceCube and they'll put your mind at ease. So a big thank you as we see there. Another red made. 2 reds at the moment by Charles. He's on the black again. Nice reaction on the cue ball. So he's left himself on another red that he can now play to the middle. Charles has restored that lead. Leading by 3 points at the moment. 17-14, as we said. Red, then a different color, then back to red again until all the reds are done, and then you, in order, have to play the yellow, the green, the brown, the blue, the pink, and then the black. Maximum number of points, in essence, considered to be 147. There is an exception to that rule if you can get a free shot before you start scoring points. It is possible, not aware of anyone that's been able to do that in an official match, but it is possible to score more than 147 points in a break. Obviously, it is possible if your opponent commits fouls. Fouls are allocated to your score. It's not deducted from your opponent's score. So it is possible, but it's very unlikely, however, that an ever elusive 147 has been scored 3 times already by Charles Jong. No wonder, as you can see there on the back of his jacket, just peeking out. Now standing up, you can see it very clearly. The rental company and WRD Distributors, the sponsors of Charles Jong, and they've been very loyal. And speaking to Charles leading up to this match, always very thankful for his sponsors, making it possible for him. There's obviously a lot of costs involved, and if a player needs to be concerned about covering those costs, and it makes it so hard in terms of just making sure that you perform at the event when you've got that added pressure of having to win that event just to cover your costs. And the sponsors, WRD Distributions and the rental company for Charles Jong, is very helpful for him just to ensure that he's able to perform at his peak. Not having a shot on a red, Charles playing a containing shot that is not a snooker, because Brandon can see a red, but a containing shot. So making it as difficult as possible for Brandon to get on a ball. But Brandon off to a reasonable start. Currently on 14, his opponent Charles on 33. As I said at the start of the match, I had a chat with Brandon Galant, joining us all the way from the Western Cape, plays at Narren's Snooker Club. Again, just a containing shot. Be interested to see if Charles would now go for the red that is in this bulk end. It is within the array of shots that Charles has mastered, so I can't see why he wouldn't go for it. Only problem is if he misses it, he'll send the cue ball to the reds. They might leave it in the pocket, but Charles confidently goes for it. Oof, this could work in favor. Oh, he's fluked it. Raise of hand there by Charles. Massive fluke there. They still count. They say if you practice a lot, you make a lot of your luck, your own luck. Because he's got perfect position on the black to the middle. No easy shot. And he'll just roll this in, and he's got a shot on the red to the bottom right. Hasn't made it, so still some fortune going the way of Brandon Galant here, because he does have a red that's within reason, and then also has the blue and the black to play for. So Brandon going down on this red. Oof, he's rattled it. That is an unforced error. It could be a cost. All depends on what he's left Charles with. To the middle, very close, off the jaw. So again, an opportunity for Brandon. Can he see between the black and the red to the red that is closest to the middle pocket on the right hand side? Does look like he's going down for the shot. Missed it by quite a distance. Both players making some unforced errors. Played that quite hard, but he got perfect position on the black, so I could understand why he played it that way. So going for the red to the top right. It's better by Charles. Also put a bit of side on it just to maintain that cue ball for the black to the opposite middle on the left hand side. Nicely played, controlled. He's right hand side. Needs to stay nice and down on the shots. Not easy. Played that well. Followed through with the cue ball and again back onto the black. Obviously playing for that black because it is 7 points. It is the highest scoring ball on the table. So ideally you would want to pot red, black as much as possible, because that then allows you to build your break. Black potted. Should be on a red to the middle. Draw this back again. You can see he's playing down on the cue ball. Just draw it back. Exactly like that. With a bit of angle. You'll want to move that cue ball in between that gap. You can see the pink with a cluster of reds, and then there's a red to the left. Just wants to squeeze that cue ball in through that gap. Just get on his next red. Looks like he's playing down on it, so I don't think he's going for the gap. No, he has. Just slowly rolling it through. Black spotted again. Break currently on 24. 3 reds and 3 blacks. Total frames 58. Beautifully played. Draw it back for the pink. Very close to securing this frame now, Charles Jonk. Nicely played. This red, if he does make it, shouldn't see Brandon coming back to the table. Again, nicely controlled. Opportunity for Charles to clear up the table. It's obviously a prize for the highest break in the event as well. So players will be gunning for that. Doesn't have to do cue ball here either. Followed it through. On another red to the middle. Don't think he's straight, so he should be able to just drift the cue ball to the left of the black and leave himself with options for pink and black. There we go. Perfectly in position. Frame definitely secured by Charles now. Break of 40. Interesting to see what he does to get onto this last red. Last red has been in that position for quite a while now. Draw it back. Left himself for the red to the top right. So after that, he would need to pot another color ball, and then following them as they come down the table, yellow, then over to the right. This is the green, brown, blue, pink, and then black. Oof, very close, but that is the first frame secured by Charles Jonk. Remaining seated, Stefan Steenekamp balls, and we'll be back shortly with the start of the second frame. ball's being removed by Stefan Steenekamp, and I'll just quickly talk you through exactly what he's doing at the moment. You can see he's just getting the balls in order. They are spotted. They have an exact spot on the table that's marked. You'll see that that pink is removed because that pink does go quite closely to the triangle of 15 reds. So that is the last ball that is then put in position once the reds are in place. So he'll remove the triangle with a total of 15 reds in them. The pink goes right at the front in its spot, not allowed to touch the reds. Just a small gap allowed between the reds and the pink. Black goes on its infamous spot. There we go, just a quick brush of the table by hand, just making sure all the imperfections are removed. Cue ball passed over to Brandon. Charles broke off first frame. It is alternate break, it's not winner breaks. So you'll see now Brandon breaking off and trying to get that cue ball in behind either the yellow, brown or the green. Very traditional break. Those balls are being used to then cut off as many as possible of the options available to Charles. You can see the one furthest to the left, and he'll play it on the left. Now he's playing for the one in the middle, just running the cue ball along the left-hand side of the table. Again, back into bulk. No, he's taking a bit of a gamble here is Charles. He's trying to tempt Brandon into taking on one of these shots. Should be quite easy to get the cue ball back into bulk, but the risk now for Brandon is the red that's at the middle of the table, because if he doesn't get this perfectly, he should leave it on. Brandon looking like he's going for this. He has gone for it. What does he leave Charles with? Not much. That was a safety pot, as we call it, because he went for the shot, but keeping in mind exactly where the cue ball is going. So if he doesn't make the shot, doesn't leave Charles with anything. As you can see, they're running off of the right-hand side of that cluster, back in, perfectly behind the green. So this should cut off all reds. Tap on the table by Brandon, showing that sportsmanlike conduct, congratulating his play on a very good safety. So just an update with the scores over on table 2. We've got Fakhri Khirdin against Fahmi Yassim. First frame being won by Fakhri, so the favourites seeded 1 and 2, both on 1 frame as it stands. So elevating the cue is Brandon's looking at putting a little bit of a swerve, just needs to make contact. Misses. How's his luck? Oh, misses, touches the pink. That is a foul 6. So exactly what is happening there is, because of the value of the pink is 6, as we said, the black is 7, the blue is 5. Because he made contact on the 5, didn't touch a red, so it is a foul 6 points allocated to Charles. And because it is an illegal shot, Charles can ask the match official, Mr. Stefan Steenekamp, to please respot that cue ball. Contact made now. To respot the cue ball exactly where it was, and then ask Brandon to play the shot again, obviously in hopes of exactly what has taken place, because Charles now has a red that he can play to the bottom left, leave himself on a black, and then get in, as we call it, the money, because you want to be in between those reds. Oh, unforced error, and this is a big opportunity now for Brandon, because red on, and the 6 that he conceded with that foul couldn't become that expensive break that it could have if Charles made that red to the bottom left. As we said, this is the Advised Cube Grand Prix for 2022. It is the last 16. This is the main event. 16 players in action, competing for 75,000 Rand. very good for snooker, and a big thank you to Advice Cube for being the sponsor, that red being made to the bottom left. So a big thank you to Advice Cube, advicecube.co.za. Advice Cube Insuring Assets. If you are concerned about tomorrow, get in touch with Advice Cube today. They specialize in long-term and short-term insurance. So medical aids, vehicle finance, life insurance, retirement annuities. Get in touch with a professional team over at Advice Cube, and they will definitely be able to assist you. They understand the industry very well. They are a fully licensed financial service provider. Advicecube.co.za. Get in touch with them. Mr. Vimal and Singh, big thank you to them. As well as just to the right, you can see the Advice Cube logo there on the table. The refreshment sponsor, My Day Brands, Mr. Diamudley and team, a big thank you to them. Very loyal supporters of Q Sport as a whole. Does a lot for the players, Mr. Diamudley. Off, he's missed that black. Looked like he was jabbing at that shot a little bit. Doesn't look like he's got the timing down yet. As we said, it is the first player to reach 5 frames or leading at the end of the 3.5-hour session will go through to the quarterfinals. Charles currently with a 1-frame lead, 1-0 at the moment. Red mate playing for the pink. Looks good. As I said there, the timing, if we see Charles going down here, look exactly at how he's playing. So if you look at his head, for example, you want to keep your head as still as possible, even after the shot. You're not popping your head up. You can see only there, the balls have almost stopped moving before Charles comes up. It's all about that cue action. As soon as you start moving your head, even if it's just a couple of millimeters, your body goes out of sync, and that's when little issues can creep into your shots. You will see that again. Look at how still he remains when he plays that shot. Doesn't try and move a lot, but misses that red. Some very unfortunate misses by both players. They're just getting a feel for the table and just getting into the groove. Charles was here yesterday on the practice table, just warming up. Just to give you an idea as to how difficult this game is, obviously you practice a sport that's difficult, it becomes worth it when you start seeing results. And another unforced error there. Not sure if he's left this red on. I don't think he has. Again, this TV can be quite deceptive. But what these players are facing is, it's a 12-foot table. It's in essence the table that everyone is familiar as a 7-foot table. But if you stack them side by side, it is... How did that happen? That is a foul. It looks like that was a foul. Made contact with the blue. So asked to play that shot again. Ran into the green. So what could also happen here, highly unlikely, but it is a rule within snooker that Pro Snooker Events does follow. It's because Charles can see a red clearly. It's not snookered. If he commits 3 fouls in a row, that is the end of the frame. The frame is allocated to his opponent. You can't commit more than 3 fouls in a row if you can see a full red. Going for the shot, not making it, rattling coming out, but don't think there's much damage. He's left with a long red, unless there's a red peeking its head out. Because you can't... Should just try and hide this cue ball behind the green, I think. Oh, sorry, the pink. A bit hard. But again, not too much damage being caused. But as I said, so it's 4 pool tables, 4 7-foot pool tables next to each other. That just gives you a perspective of the size. The balls they're playing with is also the same size as the balls that you would play with on the 7-foot table. But now you've got that distance, as well as the Waraka table that you're seeing at the moment is a steel block table. It just makes the reaction that you get very difficult. The cloth is also world standard cloth that they are playing on. It's Strachen cloth. that these players are playing on. These tables are ironed, so the actual little hairs on the cloth all flow in the same direction from the top of the table to the bottom. So where you break off down to the black spot, the hairs flow in the same direction. These tables are actually ironed just to make sure that they run as true as possible. A big thank you there again. Our sponsors, the Advice Cube Grand Prix, sponsored by Advice Cube Insuring Assets. You can see their number there, 0861732688. advicecube.co.za. If you're concerned about tomorrow, get in touch with them today. You can see it looks like it does go to the middle. No. Charles also getting a little bit frustrated now. You can see in his movements there after playing that shot. They are playing for the Advice Cube Grand Prix trophy that you can see in the back on the table there, playing for 75,000 Rand in prize money. Great for snooker. Great for the players. 8 seeded players against 8 players that made their way through. Total of 64 qualifiers. It's mini qualifiers. If you win them, you get a spot in the main qualifier. The winner of that main qualifier then gets a spot in this event. That fills in the other 8. Oof. Golden opportunity by Brandon. Can't make it to the middle pocket. And missing it by quite a distance as well. You can just see it's hitting the jaw, but just the start of the jaw. So just needs to adjust with his aim. But both players are battling a little bit. Brandon fortunate with the position of where he ended up with that cue ball slightly nudged into the green, but it doesn't look like it's hampering Charles that much. Can go down on his normal cueing position, doesn't have to raise the back of the cue or raise his bridge hand. Red made, so he'd want to now just start building that momentum again. Red has been made to the bottom left, it's got position on the blue. Just floating this cue ball again to the right hand side because he's got a red that is sticking out. Oof, again, these middle pockets are becoming quite ominous for both players. You can see there Charles just going through that cue action again. He's not happy with something. So only a break of 1 for Charles. Scores are no longer tied. It's now 14-13 in favor of Charles Jonk, but we see Brandon Galant at the table. No easy shot for him. Brandon Galant playing from the Narran Snooker Club in the Western Cape. These clubs also a lot have to go to saying thank you to them because they do a lot for these players. Brandon playing from Narrans and Charles playing from the Diaz Snooker Club. These clubs, apart from having the tables available for these players to actually hone their skills on, they do a lot of work for the players, hosting leagues, just being there for the players. And if you speak to Charles and you ask him about his home club, he's very passionate and absolutely love. Again, this middle pocket is the toughest opponent for both of these players. Looks like they're playing against the middle pocket and not against each other as it stands. Again, not much left unless it doesn't look like he can get to this red at the bottom right, but can play for the red to the top right. Makes it. That black is tied up. Brown is open. Blue is also awkward at the moment, so they'll try and get that back into position, because what's important to note is that these players use the other colored balls in their positions to maneuver around the table, and as soon as they are awkward, it makes moving around the table a little bit more difficult. Is that middle pocket playing along? No, not even for a fluke. It almost looks like the middle pockets are batting out the balls as both of these players are trying to make them. Charles looking at the red closest to the blue. Does look like he can play for it unless he wants to play safe. He's playing quite down low on it, so if you can't see it, he'll try and hide behind that blue. get the red out of there. Now he has gone for the pot. But if, for example, Charles only could see a little bit of that red, he would then play it in such a way to get the red out of there and then leave the cue ball behind the blue, making things difficult for Brandon. But that not being the case, as we can see, he is going for the brown. So again, break is on. So rest required by Charles. And that is a beautiful shot being played by Charles using the rest. Position on the pink. It's better by Charles. Just wants to get back into the feeling of potting balls, and his break currently on 12. Made 2 reds, 1 brown and 1 pink, as you can see at the bottom left of your screen. Also now try and just free up that black a little bit. Perfect opportunity to do this because he can run into them. And with a few loose reds, he should surely end up on a color. He opted not to run into them, but lands perfectly on the pink, so nothing wrong with that. So obviously now in the back of Charles' mind will now be how he's going to go about clearing all of these reds, but break of 19. Brandon has been struggling a little bit. Charles obviously a lot more experienced. He's now recently been crowned the South African National Snooker Champion. Played over in Wanderers. That was just before our previous event, the Town Classic. That's where he won the South African national title. On the pink again, no need to do too much with the cue ball. Just needs to make sure that he makes this pink because he's got some reds that he can play to the left middle. See, just follow through slightly. Just let the cue ball roll, and he's onto the reds to these middle pockets. That's been ominous thus far. Pink now back on its spot. It was previously on the black spot because of the cluster of reds obscuring the pink spot. The rules then state that the color needs to be spotted then on the highest available spot, because the black was then available. Black was off its spot, the pink then went onto that black spot. So middle pocket being negotiated there by Charles. Once again going for the pink. The black is still awkward. Using one rail. This looks awkward. Won't be happy with that positional shot being played for the red. Trying to use one rail just to get in position. An awkward cut here for Charles. Cut worked out quite well for Charles Jonk. He's now on the pink. Oh, now the pink and black, awkward. What is he leaving Brandon with? Can that red cut past the black? It should. Brandon is looking at that now. It does look like it should go. Needs to be quite gentle or confident in terms of playing this, because he could then get position back onto the black. Nicely played. So he's got options here. So he's moved out of red, and he is on the black. Trailing by 33 points, so he needs to make sure that he builds some sort of a break now, otherwise the scores will go to 2-0. Nicely played there by Brandon. That red not coming out though. So he's got 2 reds left that he can play for. And I think the black has spoiled the party for Brandon. Does look like that black has obstructed the potting angle that Brandon had on the red. Now he's not even looking in that direction, so unfortunate there for him. Difficult long red. Doesn't even go for it. What does he leave Charles with? This is within Charles' skill set, so he'll cut this in. Don't think he'll play a safety from here. He does have the advantage momentum on his side as well. Nice. Oh no, he has gone. He is turning the screws on Brandon here. Again, a tap of the table by Brandon. He might see just a little bit of the red. Doesn't look like much. He's already looking at what his options are, playing at least one cushion to get there. Does look like he's playing on the left-hand side of the cue ball, just to put a bit of spin on it. Could see a slither and makes it. Great shot there. Again, we're not 100% sure of how much of that red he could see. Looks like you could see quite a bit. Made that red. So what can Brandon do from here? Trailing by 25 points at the moment. Played for the blue. Hasn't worked out. Does have distance in his favor, so this is not easy, because he'd need to cut this shawl. You can do that and send the cue ball. Oh, he's missed it completely. That is a foul. 4 points being allocated to Brandon. It'll take his score to 27. Difference is 21, so there's definitely enough balls on the table. He's going to just ask Charles to please play that again. So Mr. Stefan Steenekamp just making sure that both players are happy exactly where the position was of that cue ball. So special mention does go to the match officials for this event, for the Advice Cube Grand Prix. There's a lot of attention that you need to pay with regards to these balls, because it's not just necessarily the cue ball that would need to be respotted, but say he misses this red again and he runs into, say for example, the yellow and brown. Oh, this could work out for Brandon. This could work out. It has beautifully, works out beautifully for Brandon here. Charles, that is a big unforced error. Not really used to seeing him make these mistakes, but a mistake nonetheless. But can Brandon capitalize on it? Got some good cue ball reaction there. That is all down to timing. You can play the cue ball in the bottom. Actually, Brandon and I spoke about this at the start of this match. You can play the cue ball at the bottom, but if you do not have timing, you won't get the reaction that you need. Going for the pink. Actually actually played for the brown there by the looks of things, or no, that is the red. Getting a little bit of confusion here. Yeah, it looks like a red there. Definitely a red. For a moment on the screen it looked like it was actually a brown, but you can see the brown there by the yellow. But just the reflection coming through as brown there. Beautiful shot played there by Charles. Also great position onto this black. The black will now go back into its position for the first time in a long time in this frame. This frame has been going quite slowly. Definite advantage for Charles. Over on our second stream, it is currently 2-0 for Fakhri. He's playing Fakhmi Yassim Fakhri, our second seed. How's that? Beautiful shot. Because he made the black. There's no reds remaining on the table. He had no option but to then go for that yellow. Beautifully played. So he now needs to play the green, followed by the brown. Tricky shot will be to get onto the blue from the brown, depending on the position that he's going to get on this brown. Nope. Brandon remains seated. He's not getting up. That is it. So 2-0 score stand at the moment. So interesting. Second stream, it is 2-0 in favor of Fakhri, but Fakhmi is leading 23 points to 0. However, Fakhri is at the table now. It is the end of Fakhmi's visit. He has just scored 1 point, so difference there is 22. As we see Mr. Stefan Steenekamp just getting the balls out as we take a quick break, just while we have Mr. Stefan getting the match underway. Or the next frame rather, sorry. So there we go. We have the start of the third frame, 2-0 in favor of Charles Jonk. Bit of a shaky second frame by both players. Charles looked quite good in the first frame, but then it was the battle of the middle pockets in the second frame. Both players struggling quite a lot with that. Both of the middle pockets. Has successfully negotiated his way back into bulk has Brandon, but shot left on for Charles. Question is, does he risk it and go for it, being aggressive? He is 2-0 ahead, or does he play safe? No. Shows you the experience of Charles Jonk. That is a bit fine though. Cut that red way too fine. Cue ball's almost made his way all the way back to the red, so that is a big unforced error by Charles, because this is now a much easier opportunity for Brandon to get in and amongst the reds. As I was saying there, the decision made by Charles just shows you his experience, and he still respects his opponent, irrespective of being 2-0 ahead. Respecting his opponents by just not going for everything and anything, knowing that it is a percentage shot, because chances are, even if you made a ball, be quite hard to get onto another color ball, so we'll probably see another return of safety by Charles. There we go, 1-2 cushions. trying to get into behind that yellow and brown. Very close. Good shot nonetheless. I think he's left the red on to the right-hand side of the table, but risky. Percentage-wise, but better, because you could get position on the black, but Brandon, feeling that it is not worth taking that risk, he'd rather send the cue ball all the way back into bulk. So Charles, hand on chin, looking at his options. Charles is undisputed. He's been performing extraordinarily well. Since the start of all of the Pro Snooker events, he's won all of them, undefeated. As he said, everyone is gunning for him. What a great professional. This is the Advice Cube 2022. Second time Advice Cube has sponsored this event. 75,000 Rand up for grabs. Big thank you to Advice Cube, advicecube.co.za for their website. Go have a look. They are a registered financial service provider specializing in short-term and long-term insurance solutions. So please get in touch with them as well. They've got a great group of people over at Advice Cube. They have a lot of experience. Their contact number 086. If you don't want to change from what you're looking at now, you can even have a chat with them now. 0861732688. That's the number, 0861732688. Give them a call. If you're using your phone or laptop maybe to watch this feed, give them a call, have a chat with them, and maybe even while you're at that, we can say a big thank you to them for sponsoring this event, doing a lot for Q Sports. 75,000 Rand up for grabs. It's great for snooker and great for Q Sports, so a big thank you to them. A shot being played. Great shot being played. That was very risky. If he missed that, he was leaving Brandon in amongst the reds, but he's now given himself an opportunity. He's also pushed a red, you can see there, to the top of the table, so he's almost now in essence eliminated that safety option in terms of leaving the cue ball in bulk. So on the pink, can follow this through, and he should be on a red to the middle or a red to the bottom left, depending on what he likes more. No, he just draw that back slightly, just played a little bit lower down on the cue ball, and stunned over slightly. Still has a red to the middle, but now instead of going to the right, he's going to the left. Pink, no spot for the pink there. You can spot it on the green spot. Bottom left, red potted, just floating over slightly, and he's on for both the pink and the blue. But I think in terms of that red hanging over the top left, he'll go for the pink here because the red is right there, and then should then see the pink going back onto its spot, since the previous red was blocking that pink spot. We'll see now where Mr. Stefan Steenekamp takes that. No, pink still obstructed, so pink going back on its spot. So what Charles could do here now is he could play for this red and then play for the pink again and use that pink. There we go. Can now use the pink to get in amongst the reds once again, sending the cue ball in the direction of the reds. Over on our second feed, Fakhri Girdin against Fahmi Yasim. Looks like it's going to be 3-0 in favor of Fakhri, even though we do have Fahmi at the table right now. So Charles with a little bit of momentum now. Just waiting for the scores to update though. Score's still on 0-0, which isn't the case. So we just need to wait for those scores to update. Our technical team is already on it, playing for the blue. So you can see Charles definitely feeling a little bit better as he's moving around the table. Got a little bit of momentum back on his side. You can see there, importantly, Charles just walking around the table, looking at all his options. As I said there, Charles just walking around the table, just making sure he's comfortable with exactly what he's doing. And as you walk around, you maybe see something that you wouldn't if you stayed on one side of the table, because you are now playing at reds that's just at the bottom of the table. But just walking around, maybe a light bulb moment goes off and you're seeing something a little bit differently. Taking his time, he does have a few options here. He just wants to make sure that he takes the right one. Because he can play it down, he's got the angle to get onto the black. Nicely played, that looks good. So he's on the black. Probably see him, depending on how straight he is on this black, just follow through. Or is he drawing back? Looks like he's playing down on the cue ball. Yep, playing down on it. So decisions. Does he take on the red that's right above the black, which would then send the cue ball into the cluster of reds, but see what for the black. So now both high scoring opportunities being is now off position. Looks like he is going for the shot, which will send the cue ball into the reds, which he's done. How does this turn out? And red has spoiled the party a little bit. So red to the bottom left, an option for Brandon. We're just waiting for the scoreboard just to update and be live again. But Charles in the lead at the moment. 3-0 in favor frame count for Charles. It is first to 5 or end of the 3.5 hour session. We are only an hour in now, so still 2.5 hours left. So we should see, unless there is a big fight back from Brandon, but we should have points decided in terms of frames before the end of the 3.5 hours. Fakhri has won that third frame, so 3-0 at the moment for Fakhri against Fahmi Yassim. So advantage for both the top two seeds. Oh, that is a bit of body movement there by Charles before he actually completed that shot. Won't be happy with that. Charles normally very reliable with the rest. But there was a bit of movement there before the shot was completed. Again, timing. But Charles very experienced, he'll be aware of that. Brandon, as I said, only been playing for snooker for a year and a half, so playing very well to get a spot into this event, and it also says a lot about the caliber of player for only being able to play for a year and a half, and now you see your way into the top 16 at Vice Cube Grand Prix. So he'll be very proud of that, and he is. He said that he allowed himself 5 years to get into a big event, did it in a year and a half. So something he'd be proud of, and he'll now obviously adjust his goals based on that as he made the red onto the pink. Oh, it's awkward with that cue ball so tightly against the rail. It takes away so many options. Pink not going back onto where the green was because the rules say that it needs to be spotted on the highest available position, which is the black spot. If it cannot turn spot. So awkward cueing for Brandon. This is especially where their technique is important. Makes it, just wipes its feet just once, then drops down. He is on the black. The black from here now should go onto the green spot, so he can play around it unless the pink spot has become available, which I doubt. And there we go. There we go, onto the green spot. But no easy shots here for Brandon. Not that any shot on a snooker table can be explicitly qualified as easy. Tables are very tough because it's not just about making the ball. You need to make the ball and get position. You can see there on a 7-foot table, Brandon would make that with his eyes closed. Hasn't left Charles with much. Charles looking if he could cut this in. Very fine cut. Does he go for it? Let's see. Does. Nicely played. What's his position like? Interesting. So now the next question, and this is something I haven't seen all that often in South African pool, is if you look at the professionals playing on the world circuit, where the position is of the cue ball in alignment with the blue, they would play the blue to the middle pocket, to the middle left, and here they'll send very reliably the cue ball into the cluster of reds, opening them up and then leaving yourself with an option. But does Charles rather opt to play for a loose red? Does do exactly which I said you don't see quite often in South Africa. Doesn't play for a loose red. Plays running into the cluster, so nice confident play by Charles. Red to the middle, red being obnoxious, the middle pocket being obnoxious, like keeping the red off beautifully on the pink. Brandon Galant now back at the table. We're just waiting for the scoreboard still. So Brandon trying to contain the momentum of Charles Jonk. Scores currently 3-0 in favor of Charles. He is definitely leading this frame as well. Not sure exactly by how much just yet. As soon as we have sorted out the technical difficulties, you will have a live scoreboard once again, so you can just get confirmation on that. Brandon is back at the table. Not much to play at here, even though there is options, but nothing easy. Could play a red to the right middle, could play a red to the left top, which he has. There we go. We welcome back our scoreboard. We're just waiting for it to be updated. Once we see that looks a little bit better, so we're just waiting for the referees. The referees actually have a tablet with them that they update the scores on. So That is definitely not a break of a 41 that Charles scored, but they're just getting the scores on par. And once you see the break end, that should give us an indication like that it is 41 points to 0 in favor of Charles. So looking at making this 3-0 again. Just keeping on with the momentum that he's had throughout these events. Charles, arguably the favorite in this event once again. As I said, undefeated since last year with the Pro Snooker starting last year. He's undefeated. There we go. Another red made by Charles. And black now made, so pink spot open. Should see the black being returned onto the pink spot, and then after that, as soon as it's possible, you'll see them going back into their spots. Players always prefer when the color balls are on the correct spots. There we go. Playing for the black as well as the blue. Both are options. But blue more feasible in terms of getting onto the next red, which should be the 3 reds, the one that's at the top. Ooh. Now a little bit awkward. Unless Charles is seeing something that we didn't. No, he's already looking at having to play a combination shot. On any table it's difficult. On a snooker table, you only play it when you have to. It's very tough. Let's see how Charles can negotiate this. Beautifully played. Well done, Charles. Great shot. Question is, can he see enough of the black to the middle? You'd have definitely looked at it, decided that it's not feasible. Playing for the pink rather. A pink onto the black spot. Long pot. Tempted. Nicely played. Again, position on either black or pink. Nicely played. How does he end on position? Horribly. Cue ball down. Foul. 4 points allocated. To Brandon because of that foul. But nothing easy to go at here, so another containing shot being played by Brandon. Hopefully as safe as possible. That looks reasonably good. I think he can see a red. Going down. Yep, definitely could see that red. Squeezing in between the gap between the blue and the brown. But not enough to go for a pot. Just leaves it safe, makes it difficult for Brandon. Doesn't want to leave him in with a chance. Brandon back at the table. Charles just showing his experience. Brandon really has had a few opportunities to score, especially in that second frame. But very difficult game this. Got very close to hiding in behind that yellow. That would have been a nice shot. Full red on display for Charles. Does he go for it? I think he should. Wants to secure this frame, make it 3-0. And interestingly enough, over on our second stream as well, our leader in the match, 3-0 Fakhri Girdin against Fahmi, now sees a little bit of a change in momentum with Fahmi leading in points, 47-11. However, Fakhri is now at the table. He is on a break of 11. So can Fakhri just shift that momentum once again in favor of himself and steal this frame from Fakhmi? Fakhmi should be the favorite with 47 points to 11, but Fakhri is the favorite in the match. So let's see if Fakhri can steal the frame back from Fakhmi. As we can see there, Charles not playing for a pot, just wants to get in behind the pink just a little bit too hard, but not bad. There's a red on display for Brandon to play at. Question is, what does he do with that red? Does he play it into the yellow and then sending the cue ball back down to where he's standing at the moment? No, played past it. Needs to not peek its head out. So, opportunity for Charles. He can make the shot and he can send the cue ball towards the pink and black. So it should be worth the risk. However, the question is, does he run into the green? If he doesn't, you could see him going for this. If he does, he'll play just another containing shot. No, he clears it, makes the red. Should get position on both black as well as the pink. If he opts to go for the black, you should see the black return to its spot. Wouldn't be too concerned about the pink obstructing the black, because wouldn't say that Charles would need the colors. What is Brandon left with? I don't think he's left with a pot. Definitely needs to go for the rest. You can see there Brandon is left-handed. So 2 reds remaining. So one would say that if Charles can make any one of these 2 reds, that would make it 3-0. But Brandon will try and stop that. 2-1 looks a lot better on the scoreboard than 3-0. But a lot of hard work left for Brandon. Another containing shot. So just an update again over on our second stream. 3-1. Fakhmi has clawed 1 back. So they've already completed 4 frames. So the pace being played at a little bit quicker over on our second stream. But if Fakhmi can now get a bit of momentum, Fakhmi actually jokingly said at the start, we were all of us standing outside having a chat amongst ourselves, and Fakhmi said, no, he's definitely coming here to come and teach Fakhri a lesson. Fakhri seeded number 2. Fakhmi made his way through the qualifiers to get a spot into this Advice Cube Grand Prix. And he said, no, he definitely wants to teach Fakhri a lesson in snooker. So he is at least now putting up a performance, and he's competing 3-1. So let's see if he can keep that momentum. As we can see, that should be the end of this frame as well. Should see Charles securing this brown to the middle, position on the red. Oh, nicely moved the green as well by Charles. You should see him just continue on his merry way. But if he misses, that should be the end of the frame. 3-0 for Charles then. Too many snookers required by Brandon. Should see him stay seated. And there we go. That is the end of the frame. And we'll see Mr. Stefan Steenekamp just racking the balls for us again, as we get the 4th frame underway. And we'll be back shortly with some more commentary. for the Advice Cube Grand Prix. It is the first round of matches, a top 16, sponsored by Advice Cube, insuring assets. 0861732688. Get in touch with them, or advicecube.co.za. We'll be back shortly. Thank you, everyone.
Play it your way with My Day.
You just saw Brandon Galant just returning probably from a quick bathroom break. Mr. Stefan Steenekamp just getting the balls back in order. You might see the start of this frame number 4. Might just start with a short gap in commentary. I just need to quickly step away myself as well, but I'll be back as quickly as possible for the start of this 4th frame, and we'll have a discussion and again just talk a little bit about where these players are from, our incredible sponsors, the action that you are seeing, as well as what these players are trying to achieve. So I will be back shortly. Thanks everyone, and enjoy the start of the 4th frame. Our experienced team of highly trained industry professionals understand exactly what your needs are, whether it is your family, your personal assets, or your business. Get in touch with AdviceCube today. AdviceCube, insuring assets. AdviceCube is a registered financial service provider. There we go. So as all of us had a quick break, we welcome you back. We'll get the fourth frame underway quite shortly. Update on the scores over on our second stream. 33 points to 10 in favor, 33 points to 9 in favor of Fakhri. Fakhri at the table. He's just made a red, playing on the black. So he wants to put this frame to bed because that leaves him one away from going through to the quarterfinals. You can see there as we get a quick transmission from our second feed. That is Fakhri at the table. Score is a 41 to 9 at the moment. Frame count is 3 frames to 1. Fakhri clawed back in that fourth frame. He was 3-0 down, made it 3-1 with a good performance, but he'd want to get that momentum. He doesn't want to have Fakhri reach 4-1. As we are back live on the main table, who's featuring Charles Jonk and Brandon Galant. Players will be back shortly. The session is timed. Session is timed, 3.5 hours for the session. It is a best out of 9. You can see Mr. Stefan Steenekamp. You can see Brandon is in his seat, so we're just waiting for Charles. Brandon playing from the Narrens Club. Charles playing from the Diaz Snooker Club. Both of these players very proud of the clubs that they're playing for. Big thank you to all of the efforts being put in by these clubs. All of the qualifiers being hosted, the organizers of these qualifiers, a lot of work goes in leading up to these events. There's a 64 total qualifiers that is played just to secure 8 players coming into this event. And in essence how it works is, yes, there's 16 players at the event. 8 of them are seeded, so the top 8 actually then go through to automatically through to the main event. They are seeded 1 to 8, and then there is 8 spots available. 64 qualifiers, a host of mini qualifiers. If you win the mini qualifier, you get a spot into a main qualifier. The main qualifier, if you win that, you then secure one of the 8 open spots. As we can see, both players are ready. Mr. Steenekamp just having a word quickly with both of them just before we get the fourth frame underway. You can see they're professionally dressed. He's got the gloves on. If he's asked to clean the ball, there's no need to use a rag. They just use the gloves. Charles broke off first. And this now with the start of this fourth frame. See Brandon breaking off. Wants to get in, nudge the reds, get the cue ball safe, how's his space. Pace looks good, but he's left the one red that came out. He's left that on, otherwise it would have been a very nice break off. But don't see Charles going for the pot here. Really just play the safe, goes for it. I think the reason in thinking of that is there's not a lot of reds that came out of that cluster, so chances are he wouldn't have left anything on, but I think he's left the red just above the pink onto the middle. He has. See Brandon going down. Oh, again, middle pockets fighting against Brandon. Charles just seeing if there's maybe a plant in amongst all of the clusters of reds that he can play into. Charles taking his time. Looks like he's seeing something. Otherwise, he wouldn't have spent that much time looking at the cluster. Ooh, made a foul. That is a unforced error. You can see the disappointment in Charles' face. Shake of the shoulders there and a shift of the arms. He's not happy with that. But don't think there's a lot of damage apart from that red that's now peaked out, because again, I think the middle pockets is in Brandon's head at the moment, so cautious here. Oh, again, middle. You can see him drop his head. He's really battling with these middle pockets. So that mistake by Charles turns out not to be too expensive. So 4 reds to the left of the cluster, playing for the one at the bottom of the 4. Very clever by Charles. Played lower down on the cue ball, and he drew the cue ball off of the reds into the reds just above the black, holding the cue ball for the black, because the problem would have been if he played that shot just normally and not pulled it into the reds. Could have been quite tough just to get position onto the black. You can see there, beautiful angle that we're getting from the cameramen. Great technical team from 360 Sport. Can also follow us, follow them rather, on YouTube. Just go onto YouTube and search for 360 Sport. You'll be able to see all of the previous events, matches. They'll be on there, as well as a whole host of other sports. Great team over at 360 Sport. So a big thank you to the work that they are doing as well. So please go have a look. YouTube 360 Sport, subscribe to their channel. Definitely does help if you're looking for some sport that you'd like to follow. They are very busy actively with events, and all of it is streamed over to YouTube. So please do go onto YouTube and subscribe to their channel, or visit them on 360sport.co.za. Again, in with a break by Charles. He has made the blue, so break is on 14 at the moment. The 4 points for Brandon was due to a foul committed by Charles. He scratched the cue ball into the bottom right-hand pocket. 4 points for the foul allocated to Brandon, but Brandon could not capitalize. Again, that middle pocket playing its part there. Looks like he's drawing back. Did not get the reaction that he wanted from that cue ball. Wanted to draw it back a little bit more, I think, playing onto the pink. He's now left himself with the blue. Charles also from Port Elizabeth, missing the blue, rattling and coming out. Playing Sports Club and his sponsors, WRD Distribution, as well as the rental company, making them very proud, being undefeated in the pro snooker events, as well as the South African national champion. So working hard for that sponsorship by 2 brilliant companies, but definitely worth it for both of those companies, as he's been putting up performance after performance for a good few years now. There we go, some good rest play there by Brandon. Left himself on the black. Now needs to just build on that momentum so he can claw one back, because if it is 4-0, it is very, very difficult for Brandon to then win the match. That's just to give you an idea as to the other matches that are taking place over on our other tables. You are obviously watching Charles Jonk against Brandon Galant. And then we also have Fakhri Girdin against Fahmi Yassim. Again, that is over on 360sport.co.za or on their YouTube channel. You can go and watch that match. But then apart from that, we've got Kiashan Moodley against Munir Kasim. And then Ricky Tregoning against Mervyn Donnelly. Ricky is number 4th seed. Then we've got Jaden Nobin against Donovan Uji, and he is over from Port Elizabeth as well. Jaden, a local KZN lad. He's also organizers of these qualifiers, so a big thank you to the work that he's been putting in over and above him playing. But it is Jaden against Donovan. Then one of the very exciting matches, and I'm actually going to go have a look on my side now to see if I've got an update on the score of that match, is Mutalib Ali against Carl Akalu. Mutalib, a multiple title winning snooker player, against the multi-talented Carl Akalu, who's won titles in both black ball and 9-ball as well as 10-ball. Carl, you saw recently play at the World Games with Jason Turon. And then the last match is Rafiq Lambada against Andre de Toy, the coach and the photographer, as they are also known. Andre is our resident photographer, takes beautiful pictures. He's also a qualified referee, but he has played in a qualifier, made his way through, and he is facing Rafiq Lambada, who's ranked number 7 in terms of seeding. So Andre and Rafiq will be battling it out, and Andre actually told me that the 2 previous occasions that he's played Rafiq, he beat them both times. So we'll quickly have a look on our side, and I'll see if I can get an update in terms of the scores as it stands right now with the live matches. As I have it now, obviously the match that you are seeing is 3-0 in favor of Charles. Then Kiashan Moodley against Munir. Kiashan is leading 4-1 there at the moment. And then Donovan Uji against Jaden Nobin. Donovan is leading 1-0, so that match is going quite slowly. Ricky is up 2-1 against Mervyn Donnelly. Ricky Tregoning, the number 4th seed. Then our next match is Carl Akalu, Mutalib Ali. The match that I was referring to is as close as I thought it would be, 2-1 at the moment for Mutalib. So Mutalib is obviously the more experienced snooker player. Carl just coming back from the World Games. Oh, sorry, not the World Games, the World Cup of Pool. Sorry, my mistake there. World Cup of Pool, where he played with Jason. The World Games is actually ongoing at the moment. But Carl returning from the World Cup of Pool, where he played with Jason. They made it past the first round. Carl has won a Durban title before, but he's more known for his play on 7-foot tables as well as 9 and 10 ball. Then Rafiq Lambada against Andre de Toy. Rafiq is leading there 4-1 at the moment. And then our second stream that we have on 360sport.co.za over on their YouTube channel is a 4-1 for Fakhri against Fahmi Yassim. And that's just an update on the other matches that's happening. We'll let you know as soon as we get final results for them and just confirm which players are going through to the next round. As we see, Charles is building up quite a nice little break here. His break is currently on 16. Total points is 31. Leading 3 frames to 0. So again, momentum. Brandon needs to break this momentum of Charles, but you can't do anything while you're seated. So he needs to wait for his next opportunity, and hopefully he gets one. Because, as I said, going 4-0 up for Charles. For Brandon, that is ominous news, because that'll be very difficult to make his way back from there. So Fakhri over on our other stream just needs one more frame, and we'll see him through to the quarterfinals. Nice shot being played by Charles, leaving himself with a few options of reds. Playing for the one just above the black. Staying down, queuing nicely does Charles, but still misses it. Knowing Charles, he definitely feels that there's a bit of work that he needs to do if he wants to reach it. Making a few odd errors as he's getting into building his break. Obviously referring to break building is potting a red, different color. Points are allocated, so you want to keep that momentum, because if you make a red, miss the color, it's only 1 point. If you make a red, make a color, it's a maximum of 8 points that's scored in total of those 2 shots being played. But if you continue that momentum, you can score a total of 147. That's the maximum break that you can score. There's an exception to that rule, but that's more in terms of technicalities, in terms of snooker rules, which we'll touch in through the course of the weekend. But Brandon now making a red as well as a pink. So can he hold on to this break and put Charles under a bit of pressure? Brandon been playing for a year and a half snooker, so not a lot of experience, but he has played a lot of cue sport in the past, even though he also had quite a long break. He got married, kids got involved, but as we all do, end up going back to that passion of ours of playing at some point again. So pink to the bottom right. Maybe having a look at rather playing for the blue to the middle, because it's all about getting position here, and I think that is what is concerning to Brandon at the moment. So yes, thinking that position would be a little bit easier if playing for the blue. Very indecisive. And this could lead him to, again, just, it's all about that momentum. It's confidence, and he's not showing a lot of it at the moment. That is well played, and he's got position, so clearly showing that he's got what it takes, and he needs to trust himself here. Break is currently on 14, 19 points in total for this frame, but still trailing. He's made that. Still break ongoing. And now the blue doesn't look like too bad of an option, because he would then leave himself onto the red to the middle, the opposite middle. But still opting to go for the pink, obviously scoring more points by doing so. And he's still on that red. Red made. Oh, looks like he is feeling a little bit better about now going for this middle pocket. This middle pocket has been Brandon's biggest issue. Let's see if now that he is on a 22 break, he's feeling a little bit better about playing the shot. Softly, there we go. That's perfect. And that takes him for a red to the same pocket as well, as we see the green being returned to its spot. This is definitely the highest break that Brandon has been able to put together in this match. And 46 points to 30 definitely is looking a lot better for Brandon. I'm sure he must be feeling better as well. There we go, there we go. This is looking a lot better for Brandon. The key shot here now, I can see him probably opting to play for the green. The brown is a little bit too straight, just to take him back in amongst the reds again. It looks like he is playing for the brown. What is he thinking? Maybe a safety? No, he's running with the cue ball. But that's tough in terms of position. Yes, he can play it to the middle, but that's tough. It's a very, almost want to be as straight as possible, just off straight on that red to the middle. You can see there the acute angle, not leaving himself with much, knowing that he's made a mistake there, opts to play a containing shot. Cue ball stops just in time, but has left Charles with enough of the red to either go for or play a containing shot, but very close to the rail there. Beautiful camera work by our team. Just putting into perspective what these players need to cope with. It's not easy when you need to play the cue ball when it's that close to the rail. What can Brandon answer with here in return to the containing shot being played by Charles? Ooh, this looks like trouble. This looks like trouble for Brandon. Yeah, that is trouble, trouble, trouble. An easy hanger for Charles to just dispatch here and just make sure that he gets position. On his next color, and he is spoiled for choice. Oh, that is a bad reaction of the cue ball that Charles got there. Definitely not the position that he wanted to end up with, but an easy safety for Charles to go for. There we go, and he's locked up nice and tightly in behind that green. So, tough spot here for Brandon to be in. You can't give Charles more points, and if he does commit a foul, probably see Charles just ask him to play that shot again. No, that does... Ooh, that looks well done enough to not give away a foul, but he's given Charles absolutely great position to play this red. If Charles had ball in hand to put anyone on the table, he'd put it there just slightly off angle, but definitely go for this. Ooh, comes out, pops its head out of that pocket, doesn't go down. So, with Charles not taking his seat, doesn't look like this red goes. So, safety being played by Brandon. Looks like quite a good one. So for any of you that are maybe wondering what's happening with the second stream, we do have our first stream being cut over to the second stream, but the technical team is working on sorting that out. That problem has also been resolved now. This is a very good safety, a lot of congestion, but very well played, very, very well played by Charles there. Almost never in doubt. So Brandon at the table, he's got an open view of the shot, but he's looking at making this decision now, again, weighing up the percentages. Am I going to go for the spot, or I'm going to try and leave it difficult? If he goes for it and he makes it, great. If he goes for it and misses, he might leave Charles in, and that could lead to Charles. Oh, that looks good. Very good shot there. Wow, that is probably one of the best shots that Brandon has played thus far. Very well played. Again, Brandon being asked to negotiate a middle pocket. Could play the brown to the middle pocket. Playing the blue down to the bottom right is also an option, but that's a more difficult shot. But how is Brandon feeling now about these middle pockets? Goes for neither of them, just puts the yellow awkward. Now with no reds left on the table, Charles can only play for the yellow. And this brings a lot of snookers into question, as you can only play for one ball. And look at that. Look at that. That is exactly as I was saying. Snooker, tap on the table by Brandon. Charles achieving exactly what he wanted. Brandon cannot see the yellow ball, and what makes it difficult as well is the close proximity of the yellow and the blue, because he can now run into that blue. Ooh, blue goes down. Foul 5. Foul 5. Blue comes back out onto its spot. Foul committed. 5 points allocated to Charles. As I said there, the proximity of the blue to the yellow. Another safety. Another good one. Very good one. Charles just showing his experience once again. He's tying the screws here. Frustrating for Brandon. Again, the green and brown proximity to the yellow. Traffic, traffic, traffic. Misses it completely. That is a 4-point foul. And chances are you'll see Charles ask Brandon to play that shot again, as we see the match official Stefan just returning the ball back in position. Let's see if the second attempt is any better. Only 4 points allocated for that foul because it was a miss. There we go. Brown into question. That is a foul. Again, it's so difficult when the ball that you are going to is surrounded by other balls, because there is always a chance of you running into them. And not only that, the fact that you cause a foul, it could be that you now leave the ball on for your opponent. Again into the brown. Brandon battling. Charles getting up. He'll have a look. See if he likes the shot. Very nicely played. Yellow to the middle. And points difference currently 30, so already now Brandon will require snookers. So even if Charles does make this green, question would be is, do we see Brandon getting back up and attempting those snookers but not missing the green? Now makes it less likely for Brandon to get back up. And not an easy brown. Can go for this confidently though. Over on our second stream, highly likely, unless Fahmi can string together a few snookers, that Fakhri is now through to the second round. Ooh, almost a very good shot being played by Charles. We do see Brandon coming back to the table. No, he has conceded, so there we go, 4-0. And we're almost seeing Fakhri going through to the next round. And Charles is on the brink with scores on 4-0 at the moment. So we'll take a quick break again as we get ready for our next frame. That is frame number 5. Thank us, or to you, for joining us. And then Advice Cube, thank you so much for sponsoring the Advice Cube Grand Prix 2022. Yep. And there we go. So there we see the second stream. This is Fakhri on the brink of making his way through to the second round. That is the quarterfinals. However, Fakhri at the table now, but Fahmi refusing to just give up. Scores currently 4 frames to 1. Fakhri in a snooker. Does he get to the red? Does not. Touches the green. So that is a foul. And in all likelihood, yes, as we can see, match official putting the balls back in place. Start of the 5th frame, but in all likelihood, I'll keep you posted. But oh, We saw in the second frame, Fakhri again missing. So, Fahmi in with a shot here. Will be a great comeback. But back to your live feed. It is the 5th frame at Vice Cube Grand Prix 2022. It is the last 16. It is frame number 5. We see Brandon at the table. Brandon with odds against him. This is going to be very tough to fight back. 4-0 at the moment for number 1 seed, undefeated Charles Jonk, the national champion and probably or arguably the favorite in this event, being undisputed, and Brandon making an unforced error. So you can see Charles does have a opening shot with a red to the bottom left. Does not make it though. What is he leaving Brandon with? This is looking good for Brandon. Just needs to make sure that if he can make this red, gets himself in position for a color. It's not worth it. You can only make the red and not get on a color. Still not an easy shot. But made, and he is on the black. Just a quick update over again, our second stream. Fahmi playing a safety, again trying to milk as much as possible in terms of fouls from Fakhri. Desperately wants to stay in this match. The score is currently 4-1. Fakhri is leading 63 to 48. However, Fakhri has now just potted the brown. That in essence you should see now Fakhri going through to the quarterfinals back at the table. I'll return. Brandon opting rather to play safe. Brought back Charles to the table. Charles couldn't capitalize, and he has left Brandon with a few options to the bottom right. Can Brandon make this to the bottom right and get onto the black? Can, yes. How does he like the angle on the black now? He opted not to play for it. Does look like he's going to go, but cue ball's going to run into the black, the cluster of reds. Nicely played by Brandon. His break is currently on 8. Made another red. Break is on 9 at the moment, and he is on a black. Is this the frame that we've all been waiting for to see Brandon make his fight back? Ooh, black stays out. Almost played that about 20% harder than he had to, because he still would have gotten exactly the same position if that was the position that he intended on playing for. Can Charles capitalize? Does so beautifully to the middle pocket. On the black as well, and the angle that he's left himself with will send the cue ball back towards the reds, so he'll definitely go for the black. Ooh, seeing some unexpected things from Charles. Yes, it is only the start of the event, but he'll definitely be hard on himself expecting to make that black. We are in store for a full weekend of action. We have 16 players competing for the Advice Cube Grand Prix 2022 title. And we have our top 16 taking place live right now. Then from 2 p.m. we will start seeing all of our remaining 8 players fighting it out in the quarterfinals. All of those matches will be live on either one of the 2 streams, 360sport.co.za or 360sport on YouTube. Some other results coming through from this Advice Cube Grand Prix 2022 is, as we said, Fakhri is through to the quarterfinals, and so is Rafik Lambada, beating Andre du Toit 5-1. Then Ryan George also through to the next round. Kiyashin Moodley beating Munir Kasim 5-2. Ongoing matches still, as we have it, is Charles Jonk against Brandon Gelant. That is the match that you are watching at the moment. And then we have a very close encounter. It looks like quite a tough match happening. Is Jaden Noben against Donovan Vivigi. Scores currently 1-1. Mervyn Donnelly, 2-2 against Ricky Tregoning. And then Mutalib Ali is looking quite good against Carl Akalu, 3-1. So those are the ongoing matches. We'll keep you posted as we go about our day and the proceedings throughout. So we'll try and do our best to keep you posted. So we see Charles onto the black that he's left over that pocket. Now dispatched, it will be returned to its spot. Important thing here obviously for Brandon is to get on the scoreboard in terms of frame counts, but the important thing for Charles, one would almost think, is to end this frame on a high note. With a bit of momentum, maybe a break of a 40, 50, 60, just so that he feels good going into the remaining matches, the quarterfinals, and that is obviously saying if he does go through to the next round. But you almost feel that he doesn't want to have another scrappy frame and feel that doesn't really have anything going for him here today. So let's see if he can build that momentum that he's after. That is a good start. How's his position? Having a close look at it. Doesn't look like he's too confident on this. He's already looking at some other options. Yep, I think that'll be the end of the break. Unless he can play for the red, the second red below the pink spot to the bottom left. He is going for that. How's that shot? Nicely played. So continues with that break after a slight running out of position with his cue ball. But that also split up the reds nicely for Charles. This is a great opportunity if he can make this pink to pull the nice break, and I think that is exactly what he'd be after leading up to, and again saying if he does go through to the quarterfinals, that is how he'd want to do it, with a nice break. 60, 70, century even. That would be best. Makes the pink. This is when Charles is at his best, when he's got balls to play for. Just needs to make sure that he holds onto that cue ball. He'll play for the red furthest to the left. And it does look like there is a red obstructing the path of the pink, thus Charles opting to rather play for the blue. Blue is worth 5 points. Pink is 6, black is 7. The brown is 4. Green is 3, yellow is 2. So nice little break here by Charles. Currently on 30. Brandon on 10. Difference is 20 points. But the important thing is Charles is still at the table. He's going down. You can see him to the right there on his haunches, just looking at exactly what he's got to play for here. Does have an easy shot to the middle. Can just land on the blue again. So I want to try and free up the pink as quickly as possible, and that is something that he'll keep in mind. He is trying to do that now. So good positive play by Charles here. No, didn't go for the red that I think he was playing for. Obviously that couldn't go because that would have been the easier shot. Did get position back on the blue, but he made an error on the cut on that red to the bottom left. He's now opened the door again for Brandon. Difference is only 20. 7 reds remaining on the table. He's potted that red. Nicely played. A little bit harder. He would have rather wanted to be on the blue than the brown. And because he had to now force that brown to get position again, completely missed the brown. And even more bad news is now he's brought his opponent back to the table. You can only win a match when you're at the table. When you're seated, it's out of your hands. So let's see what Charles can do. Clever little shot there. Obviously going for the pot, but if he doesn't make it, doesn't leave Brandon with much, but left himself with a color. But he missed now. Brandon back at the table. But nothing easy to play for. Missed that by quite a distance, and this is costly. I think he's going to leave this red on. Yeah, he's missed that by quite a distance, and given again Charles an opportunity just to get back to scoring points again. Charles with a really good cue action. You can see how quiet and still he stays even after he's played the shot. Not a lot of head movement. Body stays nice and still until almost all of the balls come to a complete stop before he then moves. You can see this from this angle. Stays nice and still, makes the ball, then gets up. Important thing to note when doing that is not only are you more accurate, but it also gives your brain some time to actually see exactly what is happening. If you do make a mistake, you only know what it is if you stay down. If you pop up and look at the balls and you see, oh no, I've missed, your brain can't actually now start adjusting, moving forward and seeing and noticing what you are doing wrong. Ooh, that is a fortunate miss, a very fortunate miss now for Brandon, because one would almost say if that pink went down. It was looking quite ominous for Brandon again. But an opportunity for Brandon. Important pink here. It's not a difficult pink, but position is important for his next red. And also just, again, these middle pockets, as I said, not been in favor of Brandon. I think he'll be biting his tongue by now. Charles will really now want to bring this match to a close. Does so, confident position onto the blue. Just slightly overplayed. Not the end of the world, he's still on the brown. Getting nice and close to that red. Noticing that the scoreboard is again not updating, but it's not a problem. There we go. Brown to be added. Nicely played onto the black now. And again, not expected to do too much with this cue ball. Just not be hampered by the black. If he makes it and return to its spot. There we go, that does the trick. Black will be spotted again. But he has a clear line of sight to the red on the potting angle. Charles feeling better now. Needs to make, probably one would say, the blue here and leave himself onto the yellow. And if he makes those two, that's going to be very difficult for Brandon. Step one complete, now just needs to make this yellow. Brandon already requiring snookers. That is a very confident shot, and what great position is he getting on this green. Lovely shot there by Charles. Again, not much that he needs to do with this cue ball. He just wants to roll this green in, and you'll see Brandon remaining in his seat even if he misses the brown. Ooh. Let's see what Brandon does. And that is it. Shake of the hands by both players. That is the end of our match. Yeah, that sees Charles Jonk now going through to the quarterfinals of the Advice Cube Grand Prix. And what a start to this event. We saw both Charles and Fakhri going through Advice Cube for the Advice Cube Grand Prix 2022. A big thank you to them. They are our main sponsors. These players are playing for 75,000 Rand, which is absolutely great to hear. Advice Cube, thank you to them. advicecube.co.za. Get in touch with them or give them a call 0861 732688 or just advicecube.co.za, as well as My Day Brands, the official refreshment sponsor. Big thank you to them for what they are doing at all of these Q Sport events, as well as our broadcasting company 360sport.co.za. Go have a look at their website or on YouTube. Thank you so much to all of them. Go to Pro Snooker, follow us for future updates as well as updates on upcoming matches. Thank you for the viewership and see you all soon. Our experienced team of highly trained industry professionals understand exactly what your needs are, whether it is your family, your personal assets, or your business. Get in touch with Advice Cube today. Advice Cube, insuring assets. Advice Cube is a registered financial service provider.
play it your way with My Day.